dear students to another video of class 9th. In this video, we are going to study about separational methods. In our previous videos, we had discussed about some of the classification, chemical classification of matter, that is into pure substance and mixtures. And we had seen that mixtures can be further classified into homogeneous as well as heterogeneous. Homogeneous means if a uniform composition of mixture throughout the sample, then we call it as homogeneous. And heterogeneous means if there is no uniform composition, that means visible boundaries unstable, then we call it as heterogeneous. Today we will see some of the separational methods of these mixtures. To separate the components of a mixture, we have different physical methods like hand picking, magnetic separation, sieving, etc. But there are some chemical methods also to separate the components of a mixture. Some of the methods which we are going to discuss today are evaporation, centrifugation, separating funnel, that is used for separation of two immiscible liquids, sublimation, distillation, fractional distillation, crystallization, and chromatography. So let us start with the first one, that is evaporation. So dear students, we know that evaporation is a method of changing the state of matter, that is from liquid state to gaseous state. But here we are using this method for the separation of a non-volatile component from a volatile component. What is meant by volatile and non-volatile? Volatile and non-volatile component means the components which get easily separate into vapor state is called volatile, and which is not is called a non-volatile component. To prove this, we have an activity. In this activity, we will take blue or black ink and we will slowly heat it with the help of a water bath. And when you start heating, you can see that the water present in the ink which we have taken will slowly gets evaporated. After evaporation, we can see the dye of the particular ink which we have taken. So we can say that a ink, either it is blue, black or red or green, whatever it may, it is a combination of a dye and water. So we can separate dye from water, dye from ink with the help of evaporation method. Clear? Now the second one we have is centrifugation. What is centrifugation? You might have seen that at your home, your mother may separate butter from cream, isn't it? Or you might have seen that how cream is separated from milk. So that simple process we call it as centrifugation. The principle of this process is that denser material will settle down at the bottom and lighter particles will go up when spun rapidly. In centrifugation process, we can see that it is used for many purposes. That is mainly used for separating denser particle and lighter particles, that is a principle, but it has wide variety of applications in our day-to-day life. You know that in dairies and homes, we are using this method for separating butter from cream or cream from the milk. And it is also used in washing machines to squeeze out water from the clothes. And it has got another application in diagnostic laboratories to conduct the test of blood and urine samples. So it is very important method. Now we have the third one, that is separating funnel. Separating funnel is used for separating two immiscible liquids. What is meant by immiscible? Immiscible means two liquids which are not dissolved each other are called immiscible. So these immiscible liquids have a visible boundary between them. You can see here the apparatus which is used for separating funnel. That is the apparatus that is known as separating funnel. In this separating funnel we have taken kerosene oil and water. So there is a boundary, visible boundary between the two. So there is a stopcock at the end, and with the help of that stopcock you can easily take out one layer of liquid which is not miscible with the other layer. So this method is also very important because difference in the densities of these two liquids separates them out, and we can easily take out the liquid which is having lesser density with the help of the stopcock. So that is about the separating funnel. It has also many uses. It is used in metallurgical process to separate iron from its slag. Okay, that is its one of the important application. Now coming to the next one, that is called sublimation. You have already learned this in first chapter. What is meant by sublimation? Sublimation is a process in which change of state of matter, and that process we call it as sublimation. So in sublimation process we are going to do an activity. In that activity we will take a mixture of ammonium chloride and salt. The salt is common salt. So when you do the apparatus setup as shown here, we will keep a watch glass, and above that we will keep an inverted funnel on it. Then start heating slowly. After some time we can see that the vapors of ammonium chloride will rise up, and these vapors will stick to the walls of the funnel, and after some time we can see that vapors will condense and solidifies, and it will stick to the walls of the container, and we can scrap it out. So that is the principle, that is the method called sublimation. Is it clear to all? The next separational method is called distillation. This distillation process is mainly used for separating two miscible liquids. I have already told you what is meant by immiscible. So miscible means if two liquids dissolve among them, then we call it as a miscible liquid which cannot be separated with any of the other methods. So to conduct distillation process, there is a condition, that means the liquids which are dissolved each other or miscible each other should have a difference in their boiling points of more than 25 degrees Celsius. Then only we can separate them with the help of distillation. In this process we can have the setup of the apparatus like this. Here you can see that a distillation flask is kept, and there is a thermometer to check the temperature, and there is a delivery tube which is connected to a condenser, and after that followed to a beaker. Now you can start heating it slowly. After start heating, you can see that first the acetone, we have taken a mixture of acetone and water in the distillation flask. Acetone being low melting point will start evaporating first. It will start evaporating and will change into vapors, and those vapors will pass through the glass tube and it will reach the condenser. What will happen in condenser? In condenser, these vapors will cool down and you can get the acetone, pure acetone in the beaker. Throughout this experiment, till all the acetone evaporates and condenses and convert into liquid acetone, the temperature will remain as 56 degrees Celsius. That means that is the boiling point of acetone. So we can separate two miscible liquids with the help of distillation process. I hope it is clear to all of you. This distillation process has got some applications. It is mainly used for separating volatile components from non-volatile impurities. It is mainly used in chemical laboratories to separate organic compounds which are miscible to each other. Now let us move to the next one, that is fractional distillation. Fractional distillation is used from the name itself, fraction. So fractional distillation means if you have a mixture of gases or mixture of so many components, then you want to separate them each of them out, then you have to use the method called fractional distillation. In fractional distillation, the mixtures of the components of the mixtures may have a very low difference in the boiling points. So at that time we are using fractional distillation process. So fractional distillation is mainly used to separate crude petroleum. We know that from crude petroleum we will get different products like petrol, diesel, kerosene oil, naphtha, coal, say different types of products we can expect from a petroleum. So petroleum, when you do the fractional distillation, these components, various components present in petroleum will distill out, depends upon their difference in their boiling points. And if you do the fractional distillation of air also, the same process will take place, depends upon the difference in their boiling points, we can separate them out. Is it clear? It is very important. Our next separation method is crystallization. What is crystallization? It is a process in which a pure solid separates out from in the form of crystals from a solution. We know that to get pure salt from seawater, purification of salt from seawater, we are using crystallization method. What is the difference between crystallization and evaporation? Crystallization method, we are not using heating process directly. That means this process is mainly used to get the pure substance from a solution. In the case of evaporation also, almost we are following the same, but we are direct heating it. So by direct heating, there may be a chance for the solute particles to get charred. They may get burnt. So that is not there in crystallization. So crystallization is having its own advantage. To get pure sugar from impure materials or impurities, to separate the impurities, we are using this method. And for the purification of common salt from seawater, there also we are using this method. Next one is chromatography. Chromatography is also having some kind of relation with evaporation method, which we have seen in the first case. In evaporation, we have seen that if you want to separate a dye from a ink, we are using evaporation method. But that ink consists of two or more colors, two or more components. Then how can we separate them out? In that case, we will use this separational method, which is called chromatography. So if you want to separate two or more components from a solution, then we are using chromatography method. Let us see the activity. So dear students, that's all about today's video. In this video, we had mainly discussed about 8 important separational methods where we can use it for the separation of mixtures. That means we can separate the components from a mixture. I hope this video will give you a good knowledge regarding the separation methods. It is very important and can be very frequently asked for your examinations. Thank you very much.